Sandbox MMA fans, this is the week. It's UFC 300. This is what we've all been waiting so long for. This is my second attempt at the video because the first one, I tried to go full screen with the PowerPoint and it just stayed on the first slide. I had actually posted the video. It was a great 49-minute video. And now we're doing take two because it just didn't move and it wasn't up to standard for what I expect for you guys. So we're going to take another shot at this, but I'm going to break down every single fight. This is my predictions for UFC 300. I have been waiting for this card for so long. It's a generational card. This is a card of a decade. There are stacked fights, starting from the early prelims, going all the way to the main event, all of which are main event worthy at some level. Even the shit fight on the card, which really there's only one shit fight. I know there's three chick fights, but only one of them is actually shit, and that's Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. Holly Holm just doesn't deserve to be on 300. She's 42. She's the grandmother of the UFC. I have no idea why she's on it. But even her and Kayla Harrison could headline a Apex fight night because the Apex sling shit. But UFC 300 is not shit. The card is stacked top to bottom. And we're going to break down each fight on the card right now. So with that, I'm going to shrink my little screen down so you don't have to see too much of me. But I'm going to be talking through these fights through and through. First fight on the card. The fact that this is a prelim opener is insane. An early prelim opener. It's Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. And I'm going with Figgy to win in round two. Now, I do think Garbrandt has a very good chance here. I think the odds are way too skewed to Figgy. But I just think there are a number of different things that happen to Cody in fights that I'm just nervous that he's not going to make it out of the fight with Figueiredo without being slept. Reason being, he's very heavy on his front leg. I think Figgy can blast a good low leg kick. We also saw Figgy moving up to 135. He beat up Rob Font, and he beat him bad. He wobbled him multiple times, so his power is carrying to 135. We saw that. Now, I understand the thing with Rob Font is he puts the pressure on, and Cody kind of likes to be counterpunchy. But I think they're going to go right at it, right off the bell. I think Cody's going to try and blitz, land a couple good combinations, get tagged, and then they're both going to try counterpunching. It's going to be slow for a second, but eventually Figgy's going to start pushing forward, land a couple calf kicks. Cody's going to start trying to swing back. And as he starts to get into a little bit of a reckless combination, I think Figgy's going to shoot, get a good takedown, land in control, land some ground and pound, get good top control. I don't think he's going to actually get a submission attempt, but I think he's going to really wear down Garbrandt with that takedown to start and really start to tire Garbrandt out. At the end of the round, before it's over, Garbrandt is going to find his way back to the feet. They're going to exchange a little bit, and Garbrandt's going to be upset, thinking that he's losing the round. He's going to go in there against Figgy, trying to get the round back, get a little crazy, and we all know Cody sees red, so sometimes he doesn't make the best decisions when he's in there. So when he sees red, he leaves his head right on the line, and I think that's prime for Figgy to hit him a little bit harder. He's going to get frustrated with that. The round's going to end. Cody's going to come out in the second round trying to look to take the round back. He's going to get a little too over aggressive, and Figgy's going to be playing the game that he wants, which is counterpunching. He's going to feint a takedown. Cody's going to overreact to it, and then you're going to see the punches up top start to work for Figgy. He's going to land a couple more leg kicks, really land some good power shots. Cody's going to get very, very frustrated that he's going to have trouble mounting offense unless he's really close inside the boxing range. He's going to land a couple of good combinations we're going to see in this round, and we're going to think Cody's back into it. He's going to get his confidence back. He's going to start really trying to extend these combinations. He's going to get tagged, get upset, see red, and then he's going to start wildly swinging in the combinations, and Figgy is going to catch him with a right hand right to the jaw, sit him down, and finish him with ground and pound. I think this is going to be a Figgy round two knockout. Cody has a very good chance here, but I just see Figueiredo winning this fight. I think he's going to work the kicks again. I think he's going to get the takedown to wear down Cody. And I think Cody is going to he's going to see red here. And his chin doesn't really hold up. His chin, he's been cracked, and he goes down literally all the time when he's cracked. And we know Figgy has crazy power even at 35. So I think that Figgy's going to find that cross right on the chin. Cody's going down, and then he's going to get ground and pound for the finish. Figgy wins in round two with a knockout. This is an epic fight. For as long as it lasts, it's going to be very, very fun. I can't believe this is opening up the card. You're going to have to tune into this card from start to finish because the whole thing is absolutely crazy. But we're moving to the next fight. A Legends fight. It's Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Now, Jim fucking Miller is going to get a knockout on Bobby Green in the second round. Maybe late first, but I think it's going to be right at the start of the second round. And again, this fight is going to be fireworks for a while. But not dissimilar to how Figgy's going to win here. I think it's going to start with Bobby's hands down low, pitter-patter jabs, playing the counter punch. And Jim Miller is going to walk forward, which kind of goes into Bobby Green's game. But what's different is Jim Miller is going to blast that low leg kick. And that low leg kick is going to chew both legs of Bobby Green. Bobby likes to switch a lot, and I think that does help him a little bit, but he's super heavy on that front leg. He has a very boxing-like stance, except for his hands being very down. But I think he's going to blast those low leg kicks. It's going to bother Bobby Green. He's going to start trying to counter back, start to get those points back. Get a little reckless. Jim Miller's going to get a takedown or some clinch control time and really work well there. Landing some elbows, landing some body shots. And we're going to see Bobby and Jim start to kind of exchange a little bit, where Jim Miller's just going to get the better of him based off a little bit of control and the leg kicks. I think Jim has better power as well. And one of the things that we saw in a Bobby Green fight is that when he fought Drew Dober, he was very susceptible to a left hook in exchange. And I think that they're going to, in the start of the second round, really exchange in the pocket as Bobby's starting to feel the pressure. He's going to start moving back, jab, jab, two, and then start moving his head a little bit. Jim Miller's going to stay there in the pocket, land a body shot, land another body shot, go jab to the head, and then he's going to throw a left hook. And I think it's going to catch Bobby Green right on the chin, where in years past, maybe Bobby Green would have been able to take it. But after that beating he took from Jalen Turner, the amount of damage he took is life-altering. That fight was stopped way too late. He got hit with about 20, 25 more punches than needed to be landed, and they were violent from Jalen Turner. He was already out cold, and this is 4 months ago. This is not like it was, a year and a half and he's had plenty of time to have his chin refreshed. It was 4 months ago, and the amount of damage that he took there is life-altering, literally. I think that once Jim Miller finds the chin, Bobby Green's going down, Bobby Green's going out. I think it's going to be an early round 2. Wouldn't be surprised if it was the start of round 1. But again, this fight's going to be fun. It's going to be good. And Jim Miller's going to get a W on all the 100 cards so far. He got one on 100, 200. Now he's getting one on UFC 300 at the age of 40. And he's going to get in the top 15. So we're excited to see Jim Miller in there. Jim Miller, second round knockout on Bobby Green. Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. I think Marina Rodriguez is going to look really good in this fight, masterclassing Jessica Andrade to a 30-27 decision. And the reason I say this, she throws straight punches right down the pipe. She has great technique. She's good in the clinch. And Jessica Andrade is just powerful and lesbian. That's literally it. So, at the end of the day, I think Andrade is going to land a couple of shots. I do think she will. I think she'll spam with hooks, but I think after the first couple minutes of the first round, Marina Rodriguez is going to see when it's coming. She's going to time it, really work her jab, work the two, just land some really good boxing combinations, and she's going to stay out of range of Andrade's spammy hooks. I think that's just exactly how this is going to go, and I'm also confident if it gets to the clinch, Marina Rodriguez can land some really good knees in the clinch. She can land elbows. I think she's more well-rounded, and I just think she's overall a better fighter than Jessica Andrade. Andrade just has the power. That's literally it. And I think Marina Rodriguez is going to outclass her to a 30-27 decision. The technique, the straight punches, they are going to beat the wild hooks and the power of Jessica Andrade. It's going to happen. 100% going to happen. This is going to be one of my locks of the card, I think. As we get to the end of the week, I'll give you guys a parlay because the one I gave last week was an absolute loser. But this one won't be. I still went 9-3 on predictions, and I'm going to try and clean sweep these predictions. So I'm going Marina Rodriguez to beat Jessica Andrade 30-27 unanimous decision by an absolute masterclass. And she walks out to shipping up to Boston. Who doesn't love that? This one's going to hurt. This one's really going to hurt to watch. Jalen Turner is going to knock out Money Moicano in the first round. Now, the odds are way too in favor of Jalen Turner here. I hate those odds. I think he's like minus 230 right now. Moicano has a very good chance because I think Jalen Turner is submittable. The reason he didn't get subbed against Mateusz Gamrot is Mateusz Gamrot doesn't have subs. He just relentlessly shoots takedown after takedown and holds you there. But Jalen Turner debatably won that decision. Now, Gamrot won the fight on the scorecards, but it was a split. Could have gone either way. But Gamrot just doesn't have the submission ability that Moicano has, so I can see Moicano getting a takedown and getting to the back and getting the rear naked choke. I can see it. But the thing with Jalen Turner is he's long, he's rangy, he's coming off a really good win. I understand Moicano's doing the same, but Jalen Turner has great power, he has great precision, he's fast, and I think Jalen Turner's the kind of guy that's going to start piecing Moicano on the feet, and he's going to be able to time a knee right at the time of the takedown and starch Moicano with it. Now, I really want Moicano to win so we can see a post-fight interview. He's the kind of guy that if he loses, still give him the mic. Let him talk. He is fucking awesome on the mic. Every time he talks, it is absolute gold. As long as he's okay to talk. I don't want like a completely starched Moicano on the mic after because I just don't want to hear it. It's just going to be hurtful because we all like Moicano. Everyone loves Moicano. Give Moicano some money. But I think what's going to happen here is Moicano's going to stand there and he's going to try and trade with Jalen to start. I think he's going to try and prove that he has some stand-up. He's going to try and trade with Jalen to start instead of shooting the immediate takedown. And Jalen's going to tag him really bad on the feet. He's going to land a really good body kick, great 1-2s, land a couple of hooks in the pocket, and Moicano's going to get wobbled and realize that, shit, I can't be standing with this guy. He's going to shoot a takedown that is completely telegraphed, and Jalen Turner's going to time that knee in the first round. And when he times that knee, I think Moicano's going to sleep from it. I think it's going to happen right in round one. I don't want to see Moicano go out like that, but I'm just scared it is exactly what is going to happen. Regardless, this is another insane fight. This is the fourth fight on the card. Like, are you kidding me, guys? This is absolutely insane. This card is ridiculous. We're going Jalen Turner first round knockout by timing a knee on a takedown. Another one that's going to hurt me. Now, I could go with my heart and just pick all of the guys that I like better. And Diego Lopez would be that guy. I think he's an awesome prospect, highly touted at this point. Went to a war of a decision with Movsar Evloev. Guru said it was debatable for Evloev. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think Evloev clearly won the fight, but Lopez gave him the toughest fight that he has had outside of Arnold Allen, and it really showed who Diego Lopez is. Diego Lopez has insane submissions. He's a very aggressive fighter. He's powerful, and he can knock you out too. So he has a lot of things going about him. But something about this fight makes me feel like Sodiq Yusuff is going to win. I think that the crowd could get to Diego Lopez, and I think that he's going to try and get very energetic, start throwing hands with Sodiq Yusuff. And if you're throwing hands with Sodiq Yusuff, you're going to run into issues because Sodiq Yusuff has crazy power. His striking and his boxing is very good. He also uses his low kicks and his body kicks really well. I think he's going to do a good job landing some kicks, landing some power shots. Diego Lopez is going to get a little sloppy going in there at first, get tagged, and then he's going to realize he's got to start shooting takedowns. I think he may get one on Sodiq Yusuff. I do think Sodiq Yusuff is going to make it very difficult for him, and it's just going to be a really interesting exchange. I think that there's a world in which if Sodiq Yusuff gets taken down, I do think he can get back up, and I also think he can start stuffing the takedowns in later rounds and start stuffing the third, the fourth, the fifth takedown attempt if Diego Lopez tries it. But I also think Diego Lopez has a lot of confidence in his striking, which could be to a fault because Sodiq Yusuff definitely has better striking than him. And I can see Lopez trying to go pitter-patter, shot for shot with him, power for power. And I see Sodiq Yusuff just landing a combination that puts him down to the canvas, and he finishes it off with ground and pound. I think it's going to be in round two. I think Diego Lopez is very durable, so he's going to survive in round one. But I think the power of Sodiq Yusuff is going to get to Diego Lopez in round two as Diego starts to tire out a little bit because Sodiq Yusuff is also landing body shots, and he's just rocked Diego Lopez already in this fight. This is not going to be the end for Diego Lopez, too. And this is something that if Diego Lopez loses, this is not a fraud check. Sodiq Yusuff is a really tough matchup for Diego Lopez. A really, really tough matchup. A guy with good takedown defense and a guy with impeccable boxing and striking. It's a tough matchup for him. It really is. But if Sodiq Yusuff gets this win, first of all, it's going to be a war. There's going to be no knock on Diego Lopez just because he's not ready now to crack into the top 15. And realistically, I think he beat some other guys in the top 15. I just think it's a bad matchup for Yusuff. But this won't be the end of Diego Lopez. He's young, he's talented, he's going to go back to the gym, learn, hone in his craft, and come back with a vengeance, get a good win after this. But I just think Yusuff's going to have his number in this fight. I think he's going to win it by a second-round knockout. I think we're getting a lot of finishes on this card, guys. I think this is going to be an absolute war. Fight after fight after fight, and this one's going to get the crowd right off of their feet. Sodiq Yusuff, second-round knockout, Diego Lopez in the back half of the second round. This is an easy one. Kayla Harrison is going to TKO the UFC's grandmother. Holly Holm is 42. She has no business being on this card. She has no power. She landed a head kick on Ronda Rousey, so everyone thinks she's very talented because of that. She's old. Like, she should retire by now. But Amanda Nunes is gone, so all the oldies are coming back saying, oh, let me take my shot at the bantamweight title. The only way Amanda Nunes comes back is if Kayla Harrison wins that title. Kayla Harrison is going to destroy Holly Holm. It's not going to be close. She's going to immediately touch gloves, shoot a takedown, get the takedown, transition to full mount, land some ground and pound. You're going to see Holly start to struggle, transition to side control, get the crucifix, start landing elbows, and win it by TKO a couple minutes into the fight. I think Kayla Harrison is going to dominantly win this. The only concern for me is Kayla misses weight, and then all of that goes out the window. I do think Kayla Harrison will make weight. I think she's been waiting for this fight for so long, waiting for her chance in the UFC. She knows she has to make weight. She's mentioned doing tests that have gotten her there. So I think she's going to make weight. I think she's fully committed to. And I think she's very easily going to wrestle Holly Holm to the ground, get into a crucifix position at some point, and start landing fight-ending elbows. And we're not going to see Holly Holm be able to get out of there, and the ref's going to stop it. Kayla Harris is going to win by a first round TKO with ground and pound, and Holly Holm retires shortly thereafter. Well overdue. Aljo versus Kattar. Aljo's going to win this fight. I'm from Boston. Everyone in Boston is very delusional about their New Englanders and winning fights. Kattar's going to have a tough time winning this one. Reason being his last fight. Calvin Kattar's last fight, he blew out his knee, and he fought in July of 2022. The fight before that, he got robbed of a decision against Emmett. Robbed is a stretch. It could have, I don't want to say it could have gone either way, but I think that Kattar won that fight pretty clearly. Then he gets absolutely pieced up by Max Holloway. So this guy has had bad luck. I'm sure he's kind of eager to get back into the octagon, but I do think he's going to have the jitters. I think it's been a while. I think he had such a bad knee injury that he's going to be very hesitant in that cage. The crowd's going to get to him a little bit, I think. And he does have crazy power. He always has the ability to knock out Aljo. But Aljo bulking up to 145, I think we're going to see one of the better Aljamain Sterlings that we have had the privilege of seeing. He's had the proper amount of time to not only bulk up, but to actually prepare and train for this fight. He's not getting rushed in because they want to push him against a superstar. He's not getting rushed into this fight. I think that Calvin Kattar is very good at initial takedown defense, but Aljo's good at chain wrestling. And Aljo will be able to shoot a takedown, not get it initially, but keep his arms locked against Calvin Kattar, transition to the back and start dragging Calvin down from there, or sit on the back and try and get something standing. So I think that ultimately Aljo is going to get these takedowns, get the back, and really wear out Calvin Kattar, landing those pitter-patter shots from the back, going for rear naked chokes that initially Calvin Kattar is going to be able to defend. But it's going to tire him out a lot. I think there is going to be true ring rust here and just a little bit of discomfort with knowing that Calvin Kattar had such a bad injury in his last fight. And that injury is the kind of injury that makes it much harder to defend takedowns. It's a really, really solid matchup for Aljo, I think. I really do think it's a good matchup for Aljo. I just think he's going to be able to get the back. He's going to drag Kattar to the ground. And in round 3, Kattar will be tired enough to make that mistake while Aljo's on his back, and Aljo's going to get the choke. He's going to look really good, and we're going to have another featherweight contender for Ilya to look at in terms of fighting. I think this is going to be a very, very good fight, but I do think Aljo's going to kind of take care of this a lot easier than people think. I don't know that Aljo's going to strike much other than throwing some leg kicks, trying to stay at range, throwing some teep kicks, and then shooting takedowns. And I don't think Aljo's going to shoot dumb takedowns. I think he's going to be smart with them, and I think he's going to catch Kattar off guard. I think when you've been off this much since July of 2022, Kattar's timing is going to be a little bit off, and I think he guaranteed drops the first round. And I think Aljo's only going to build off of a solid first round. So I think Aljo's going to win this fight by submission, rear naked choke specifically, in round 3. And it's sad to see. Kattar's a Boston guy. I want to see him do well. He's had a tough stint in the UFC of recently, and it's of no fault of his own. He just drew the Max Holloway card, and Max just set a significant strike record on his noggin. He kind of got robbed by Emmett, and then he blew out his knee. Just really, really unfortunate. I do think Calvin Kattar was one of the better featherweights. I'm just scared after everything that's happened to him that... Not that the motor's not there. I just think there's going to be true ring rust, and it's difficult. This is a really tough matchup for him, and I don't know how he truly is at defending takedowns, given that I think he's solid, but he hasn't faced the best wrestlers, and Aljo Sterling is one of the best wrestlers, one of the best grapplers that the featherweight division has seen in a while. Aljo by round 3 sub, rear naked choke. Hiri is going to sleep the Boar Master Alexander Rakic. Again, similar situation to Calvin Kattar. Really bad injury for Alexander Rakic against Jan Blachowicz. Blew out his knee. However, Yuri's leg is there to be chewed. Alexander Rakic throws insanely good leg kicks. Very good. The thing with this is I think he's going to be a little bit more hesitant to throw him. I think there will be ring rust here as well. And I think Hiri is a very intimidating presence in the octagon. Whereas Aljo wasn't as intimidating. Hiri's like, I'm going to put your lights out. Like, he's a scary dude. And I think that Hiri is going to get his leg chewed up a little bit to start. But I think he's going to realize that he just has to push forward and push forward and push forward. And I get Rakic likes to play the counter game. I just think he's going to have a real tough time knocking Hiri out with the hands. And I think if he's getting pushed the entire time backwards, he's going to have a tough time landing those leg kicks after the beginning of the fight. And I think Hiri's really going to blitz him, throwing crazy strikes, crazy volume, and do one of those dip, shovel uppercuts, and just starts teeing off after, knocks out Rakic. I think there's real ring rust there, and I think it's going to actually harm Rakic in this fight, where he's so slow that he can't get Hiri off of him. They will exchange against the clinch a little, exchange in the clinch a little bit against the cage. Here he's going to land that shovel uppercut, really start to attack. He up against the cage, land elbows, land good straight punches, land more uppercuts, hooks. And Rakic is going to kind of counter back with like a 1-2 that doesn't rock Hiri, maybe wobbles him a little bit, but Hiri's going to go right back in there. And as Rakic thinks he's finally got a little bit of confidence, Hiri's going to put him out completely cold. He's getting a knockout on round 1, and the boring man Alexander Rakic has to defend his top 5 spot again. I hate watching Alexander Rakic fight. He knows how to make every fight he's in a snooze fest, but this is a true test because every fight Yuri's in is an absolute fun banger of a war. Just I'm not even putting words together correctly. It's an absolute war every time they go in there. Bangers of fights. Through just consistently as he goes in there. In and out. I think that he's going to sleep Alexander Rakic in round 1. I'm going with it. Another underdog pick. Oh, this is another easy one. Bonakal TKO's Cody Brundage in round 1. He's going to get ground and pound. He's going to be in the full mount position and get ground and pound. He can have this fight by however he wants. I think he can probably strike better than Cody Brundage. I definitely think his boxing's better. I think I know his wrestling is through and through better. He is like the best wrestler in the sport, American wrestler in the sport. Debatably best overall, but we're going to have to see. Cody Brundage is dog shit. Dude, he's terrible. His last win was by a slam knockout that he got lucky. And the one before that, the other guy got DQ'd because he hit him with one illegal strike, and Cody Brundage milked the shit out of it for the whole fight when he damn sure could have kept going, saved his career. Milking a fight saved his career. I hate to see that. I wish his career ended. I don't want him in the UFC. He doesn't belong in the UFC. He's terrible. But the UFC needs a sacrificial lamb for Cody Brundage. Can't believe that this is on the pay-per-view. Absolutely can't believe it. Go check out the Since the Sandbox YouTube. I did a whole video on why Bonakal versus Cody Brundage should not be on the pay-per-view. If it was Bonakal versus Albert Duraev or Bonakal versus another middleweight just outside the rankings of Mahmoud Muradov, sure, I'd put them on the main card. But this is the one? Hate that. I absolutely hate that. But I think Cody Brundage is going to land 2 punches. I think he's going to land 2 punches right off the bat. Cody Brundage is going to get nervous, and then Bo's going to shoot takedown. He's going to get the takedown. He's going to transition. We're going to go, holy shit, look at how quick he just transitioned to mount. Cody Brundage is going to just get teed off on, and the reason Bonakal does it by ground and pound is because he hasn't showed us the ground and pound knockout yet in the UFC. We've seen the sub. We've seen the boxing. Now we're going to see ground and pound. He is going to have his way with Cody Brundage, and we're going to say, why the hell was Cody Brundage in there in the first place? Really good win coming from Bonakal. This is the easiest bet on the card, but it's also probably going to be like minus 300 for him to win in the first round. So take what you can. El Campeón tiene su nombre. Su nombre es Charles Oliveira. The champ has a name. It's Charles Oliveira. I think he's going to beat Arman, and I think he's going to look really, really good in this fight. He's plus 185. Underdog Charles is a monster. Didn't we learn that from Dariush, Poirier? I actually don't know if he was an underdog against Gaethje or Chandler, but definitely close there. Charles is going to TKO Arman. He's a much, much better striker. And where people are going to say Arman's got this, well, Islam wrestled him to the ground. Islam's debatably going to be the GOAT. Islam might end up being the GOAT. I think he's overall better than Khabib. Now, I would like to see him fight more to say that, but Islam's really good at counter striking. So his style matchup and just the sheer strength that Islam has is uncomparable to anybody else. Charles plays right into Islam type's game. I think Arman needs to walk forward to be successful in the striking, and Charles is not going backwards. Charles is going to walk right forward. He's going to land the two clean. He's going to land his hook clean, just like the one you see here on the screen against Michael Chandler that won him the belt. I think that Charles is getting a TKO, start of round 3, end of round 2, and he's going to break Arman. In a 3-round fight, he is going to break Arman. I think Arman is going to get a takedown, but I think Arman is not going to be able to hold position the way that Islam Makhachev did. I just don't think he's as strong as Islam. He's a great, great grappler, but he's not as physically strong as Islam, and Charles is a hard person to not only hold down, to prevent getting subbed from. Charles has submissions off his back, and Charles is the kind of guy that will invite somebody down to the ground unless you're Islam, because Islam is that good. Arman's very, very good. But I think this is a really bad matchup for Arman. I don't think he's as strong as Charles. I think Charles is much stronger than him. I think Charles has submissions that genuinely can harm him. He has a guillotine that can genuinely end the fight against Arman if Arman shoots a bad takedown. I actually think that's what the MMA guru picked, was Charles by guillotine, but I think he's going to TKO Arman. I think Arman's going to get a takedown, get really, really flustered, because Charles is going to start landing these elbows from below, cut Arman open, start threatening with submissions. Arman's going to try holding down there, but Charles is eventually going to get to their feet. They're going to start fighting again with the hands. Arman's going to try and keep his range. Charles is going to walk forward, get clinches, land the knees, land elbows, land 1-2s, hit the hook, start throwing crane kicks. It's going to look really, really good. I think Charles is going to get this one done in the 3rd round with a TKO, and the way he's going to do it is right off the start of the round. You're going to see Arman is visibly frustrated, visibly broken, and Arman's going to try walking forward. Charles is going to walk right at him, get hit, or Arman's going to get hit, start walking backwards, and Charles is just going to hunt him down, finish him, and he's going to beat the piss out of Arman Tsarukyan, guys. This is a Charles Oliveira fight, and then he's going to get a title shot next against Islam Makhachev, and I hate that they're going to probably do it in Abu Dhabi, because Islam Makhachev doesn't fight anywhere other than Abu Dhabi, where he has a home crowd, and he gets to fight once a year, because the UFC just has to appease all the Muslim fans. They have to do it for some reason. So at the end of the day, this is Charles' fight, and Charles is going to win. And the champ's going to have a name, and his name's Charles Oliveira. Charles is going to knock out Arman Tsarukyan in round 3, and all MMA fans will be able to rejoice. And that's going to set us up for the BMF title fight. Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway, 5-round BMF title fight. I think this is the fight where Max's chin goes. I will say, when this fight was announced, people were really disrespecting Max. I think Max does have a good chance against Gaethje. But I do think Gaethje's going to get the better of him here, and I think he's going to take the chin. And the reason I think he's going to take the chin is he's going to have Max so worried about the leg kicks that those hooks are going to be right there for Max. Max is there to be hit. Max gets hit a lot in every fight. He really does. But Max overwhelms people with pressure, because when he gets hit back, it's usually not by the biggest power guys. Volk doesn't have a ton of power. Ortega has no power. Kattar has power, but Kattar just did not have the variety of strikes that some of these other guys are having. Like, Poirier tagged him real good, but Poirier's up a whole nother weight class, and I would argue that Gaethje has way more powerful hands. He may not be as precise, but his hands are definitely more powerful, and Gaethje's low kicks are going to chew Max Holloway's leg. Max is going to be able to switch stances a lot, and he's very good from his southpaw. He's definitely better in orthodox, but he's still very good at southpaw. But I think Gaethje lands those leg kicks. They're extremely hard leg kicks, and I think it's just going to chew Max's leg. Now, there is a world. It is a very, very logical way that Max starts to walk down Justin Gaethje, and I don't think Gaethje's going to take it. I think he's going to start swinging back, and Max could win a decision here. I don't think he's going to knock Gaethje out. Where I'm seeing people think he knocks Gaethje out is that they think that Gaethje's just not going to have the tank to keep going. He's going to get broken. Guys, you're forgetting Justin Gaethje trains at Team Elevation. Or at Elevation Fight Team. They're fighting at Elevation in Denver. Gaethje's got some of the best cardio in the lightweight division. He doesn't get tired. He does throw crazy, sure, but he's always going to be in there for the whole fight, giving it his all, and I think he has the power to chin Max Holloway. I think this fight is going to start. Max is going to push forward, land a lot of punches. Gaethje is going to land some leg kicks and some counters. Max is going to keep going, start landing to the body, and then more leg kicks and counters from Gaethje. Gaethje is going to be able to find his jab, but I think the hooks are going to be the biggest thing for him here. And I know Max is preparing for that, and I know he's preparing for the leg kicks. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. And now we've seen Gaethje has head kicks in him. I don't think he's going to land a head kick knockout on Max. I think that we're not going to see another head kick knockout from Gaethje for a long time if we do see one. But I do think that these, two-punch counters, I know Max is preparing for it. I know a lot of people know that this is what Gaethje does. But I think that he's going to be able to land that left hook, and I think he's ultimately going to break Max's chin. And I'm sad that this is the fight where it's going to go, but I think this is the fight where it's going to go. Max is going to knock out Justin Gaethje is going to knock out Max in round 3. But you're going to see it all came from with the leg kicks. And I don't want to sound like Joe Rogan just literally glazing leg kicks the whole time. But Gaethje's leg kicks are different. Gaethje can land them from clinch range. He can land them from very close. He doesn't have to be far away. So Max can get in close, and Gaethje can still throw punches and finish the combinations with a leg kick. And I think that's going to benefit him so much in this fight. Where I think Gaethje gets chinned in the future is like against Islam, because Islam throws that body kick really well, especially from the southpaw stance. And Gaethje likes to defend it by dropping his head and arms down. And I think Makhachev knows that's going to happen, can time it with a head kick. But when it comes to Max isn't really blasting those kicks up high. Gaethje's going to win this fight, and it is going to be the war that everyone wants to see. It is going to be the fight of the night. This fight is going to be absolutely insane. It is going to be so much fun. I think they're going to split the first 2 rounds too. I can absolutely see Max winning the first and Gaethje winning, or Max maybe even winning the first 2, but Gaethje's right there with him and ends up landing the shot that's going to put Max away in round 3. Sad to say, but I think this is the fight where Max's chin goes. Regardless, the fans cannot lose in this fight. It is going to be a banger. Make sure you're tuning in for it. Title fight. Legit title fight. I don't want to say BMF's not legit, but it's not a real title. Zhang Weili's going to win by 49-46 decision. Now, this is going to be a very, very close fight. But Zhang Weili's going to win. Zhang Weili is going to win by making it an MMA fight. Yan Xiaonan's boxing is really, really good. She's not a bad wrestler either, offensively. Zhang Weili, I think, is a better wrestler, and I think her kicks are so much better. Yan Xiaonan's boxing might be better. It really might be better. But Zhang Weili is going to be turning this into an MMA fight, and that's where she's going to win. They're going to exchange in the boxing, and I think Yan might get the better of her in the boxing exchanges. But where Zhang Weili is going to start pulling away is landing those leg kicks, landing those kicks to the body, the flashy punches, the spinning back fists. I think that she's going to mix in takedowns with like 30 seconds left, 45 seconds left, 1 minute left in the round, and she's going to take the round by those control times and those kicks. That's what's going to separate her. Now, I'm saying 49-46 decision. Mind you, I don't think it's going to be this Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya 49-46 decision. I think this is going to be a very, very close decision where Zhang Weili just edges out the rounds by making it more of an MMA fight than a boxing match. So I think Zhang Weili wins this fight. This fight's going to be a lot of fun. I don't like that it's the co-main. I think it's Max versus Gaethje should be the co-main. But I really like this fight. I really, really like this fight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's the first Chinese versus Chinese fight for a title ever. So no matter what happens, the Chinese are still going to have a champion, which is really, really good for that market. And Zhang Weili may go down as the GOAT outside of Amanda Nunes one day. I wholeheartedly believe it. I think that she even has a chance against Valentina. I think she beats Grasso. I think she has a chance against Valentina. And I think she's the best strawweight we've ever seen. I understand Rose got the better of her one time with a lucky kick. She timed it really well. It was a very good kick, but it was early in the fight. We didn't get to see how it would have fully played out until the second fight. And that was a super close fight. It could have gone either way. I did give it a Rose, but it could have gone either way. And I think that Weili is so much better than she was then. When it comes to Yan Xiaonan, she is awesome. Great fighter. And I think she's going to get a title shot again one day. But I think Zhang Weili is going to get the better of her in this fight by making it a full MMA fight, really landing those kicks, getting the takedowns, and winning a 49-46 decision. And the main event of the night, Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. I'm going to let you just look. Jamal Hill's going to get his title back. He is being criminally slept on. He is criminally underrated. He is a tremendous striker. There's one thing that scares me, and it's those low kicks, and of course the left hook scares me. But I think Jamal Hill's done everything in his power to address those. I think the low kicks he's going to try and address too, but there's only so much you can do. And what scares me is not his ability to address the low kicks. It's the fact that he's coming off an Achilles injury. Now, we've seen it recently in all sports. I'll use Aaron Rodgers, for example. The Achilles injuries are being far better treated now than they used to be. People are coming back faster. People are coming back more agile and mobile, and it's not a career ender anymore. But when you're getting kicked in the leg by one of the best leg kickers in the sport, definitely the best in the division, it is scary when you're coming off an injury like that. But Jamal Hill throws 1-2s right down the pipe. And Pereira likes to throw big, meaty hooks. And what beats the big, meaty hooks is the 1-2s right down the pipe. And if Pereira got chinned by Adesanya, and I know it was a perfect shot, and Adesanya doesn't have no power, but Jamal Hill tenfolds Adesanya's power. And I think Alex Pereira's chin is there to be hit in every single fight they have. His chin is directly on the line. Directly on the line. And I think Jamal Hill is going to be able to find it. Jamal Hill is quite possibly my favorite fighter not named Alexander Volkanovski. He is my favorite fighter not named Alexander Volkanovski. I think you're going to see Jamal Hill land kicks to the body. I think you're going to see his punches go up high. I think you're even going to see a kick or two go up high. This is going to be an absolute banger of a fight. Pereira's going to walk forward. Jamal Hill's going to walk forward. They're going to exchange. I think Jamal Hill's head movement is far superior. I think his footwork is far superior. And I think his power is right there with Alex Pereira's. I think it's right there with Alex Pereira's. And I love Jamal Hill's chances in this fight. I think he's going to get it done. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Glover's training Alex. He knows exactly what he's getting from Jamal Hill. They are training in completely different ways. Glover training to win a fight with his style is not the same as Alex training to win with his style, because they're completely different styles. I think Jamal Hill's going to sleep Alex Pereira in round 2. There are going to be scary moments where Pereira lands, and we're going to see if Hill's chin holds up. But I think his chin does hold up. And I absolutely think that he's one of the toughest guys in the division. I think he's the best fighter in the division. And I think Jamal Hill's going to sleep Alex Pereira in the second round with a 1-2, and this isn't going to be a TKO. He's going to find that chin, and Pereira's going to be staring up at the stars. And I really like Alex Pereira, too. I think he just being in the sport has made it so much better. But the Pereira crybabies are going to be coping really, really hard after this. They're going to be saying terrible shit. They're going to be making excuses for Pereira. They're going to be saying Jamal Hill cheats or shit like that. That's just what they do. Now, they are not the worst fans in the sport. They may be the second worst fans in the sport, but the Muslim fans that just blindly follow Khabib, Islam, all that, and if you just have to give them a counterpoint, they threaten to kill you and your family. They're terrible, terrible people. The Alex Pereira fans are just fucking crybabies that are complete casuals and have just joined the sport because they saw that Alex Pereira's in it, and they only listen to Joe Rogan's commentary, just glazing the guy like crazy. Jamal Hill's going to get it done, and I can't wait to watch the Pereira crybabies. I just can't wait to watch the Pereira crybabies, man. This is going to be awesome. Jamal Hill's going to get this fight done in the second round with a 1-2 down the pipe, and Pereira's going to be looking at the stars. He's going to get his title back, and that division is going to reign, or that division is going to have a long reigning champion, because after this, I think Jamal Hill has the best chance in the division of beating Magomed Ankalaev. I 100% do. I think that the light heavyweight division is going to be restored after this weekend. Jamal Hill's getting his title back with a knockout in round 2. This is going to be an awesome card. Make sure you're tuning in. The whole card is going to be absolutely crazy. There is not going to be a bad fight on this card. I don't think so. I think that there's a low-level fight. I think that Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison has the potential. But I'm willing to bet Kayla Harrison just gets the job done fast enough where we get it off the screen and get the next fight out there. I cannot wait for this card. Saturday, April 13th. I think prelims start at 6. Early prelims start at 6 o'clock. It starts with Figgy versus Cody Garbrandt, and then goes all the way to Pereira versus Jamal Hill, with another title fight in between, a BMF title fight, top contenders fights, ranked fighters from top to bottom on the card. This is the best card the UFC has ever put together. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be historic. It's going to be legendary. Make sure you're tuning in. April 13th, 6 o'clock, ESPN Plus. You can buy the pay-per-view. That's where I'm buying it. I cannot wait to see this card. This is what we as MMA fans have gotten through shit Apex cards to watch and see. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.